Hi, everyone, and welcome back. I'm Sarah Miranda, and I'm the Business Development Manager here at Hinz Consulting. I have a background in federal government capture management and competitive intelligence analysis. Last video, I explained what competitive intelligence is and broke down the overall CI process. If you haven't seen the last video in the series, I'll give a brief refresher. You can think of competitor analysis as a subset of market analysis. So that's just basically what your competition can do within a specific market. Then if you think of competitive analysis as a subset of that being what your competition can do for a specific customer, that's regarding a specific opportunity. Now, to answer these questions, we collect data that when usable and actionable is considered competitive intelligence. To answer these questions, we collect data that when usable and actionable is considered competitive intelligence, which we can break down into 5 steps right here. Plan, gather, digest, analyze, and disseminate for decision making. Now in today's video, we're going to dig deeper into that first step, plan. We're going to walk through the why, what, who, when, and where of this step. Step 1, why? At first, this seems a little obvious, like obviously we're trying to find out competitive intelligence so we can win. So what's this why, Sarah? Well, it's a little bit more complicated than that. Your why is, why are you collecting this information? AKA, as I put on the screen, what decisions are you trying to make, or what decisions are your executive team trying to make so that you don't waste your time? Is it a bid, no bid decision? Are you guys deciding win themes, deciding how to price? Knowing why you're collecting this data sets you up so that you can best understand what to ask in this next step. Moving on to what. Set your goals and objectives and be very specific. What do you already know about the opportunity? What do you know about the competitive landscape currently? Do you know anything about teaming or your traditional competitors? You can already put them down. The incumbents, obviously, they're going to go after it again if they can. So now set those specific goals. What would you like to know and what you don't know currently? In this case, it could be pain points of the customer, budget and award percentage trends of the customer, honestly, and nowadays, and funding sources of said budget that's there, key influencers on the project office and or source selection board officers, if you can figure that part out, which we'll eventually get to see how we can pick out the right people. Pricing techniques of your competitors, your top 3 competitors' wrap rates, if you have that available to you, evaluation factors and sub-factors that were previously used if this is a recompete, and then game changers and new players who could be bidding really aggressively because this is a must-win for them. The list is really endless, but just make sure you're clear on what you need or your executive team needs to make the pressing decision that's necessary. Now, who? Choose your participants and your audience. Who is collecting this data? Who's analyzing and disseminating the results? With whom are you sharing these results, aka your audience? It seems like a no-brainer, but it can really slow down the gather step if all parties involved don't really know their parts and which part of their part they are actually assigned to, especially when it comes to digest as well. Now we move on to when, and this is your timeline. And I cannot stress this enough. Assign yourself some due dates and assign your team due dates. It's really underrated because there is a lot of information out there, and sometimes you can spend hours, days just collecting information that sometimes isn't even helpful and you don't realize it until later phases. So set your team a deadline as to when they'll be done and complete with the collection, digestion, and analysis phases so the most concise result can be presented during the dissemination phase. Now you can look into where you're going to be getting this information. These are your sources. Now, there are primary sources and secondary sources. Examples of both include phone calls, direct contact with your peers or with the customer if you're lucky enough, trade shows, SEC filings, that also is free and online, so you can do some pricing information there. Government communications that are listed either on a specific site or if you're emailing the contracting officer. And then just personal observation of what you're seeing in the market. Your secondary sources, that's anything that's filtered, quite obviously. So even if it comes from a recommended source that has already been disseminated by an analyst, that is also a secondary source because it is not your analysis, it is theirs on primary information. So it's always best to find where those folks are getting their information and then making your own analysis based on their primary research. You also could look into social media. So there's LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Flickr. Not many people use that as much. And job postings are really big as well. So if you start to see someone posting about a project manager, looking for a project manager dependent on a contract award, obviously they're bidding on something with, all the same aspects that you're looking for in your project manager. There's a really good chance that they are also bidding on the same thing as you. Another source that you can use is GAO protests. If something is consistently protested previously, or whether that be a competitor's pricing strategy or their transition plan or something like that, there's opportunities to ghost. There's opportunities to also protest if you don't seem to make it out on top. So look for patterns there. And lastly, I would say take a look at Glassdoor. There's mixed reviews on how people view the reviews on Glassdoor. A lot of times there's really disgruntled people who want to put their foot out there, but you can find really good nuggets. So what I'll say is look for 401k percentages that employees have posted about these companies offering. This will help you calculate wrap rate, which then can feed into your pricing strategy. So there's a lot of different sources out there. I've just named a few, but I'd love to provide any more. Feel free to email me and we can chat deeper on this subject. Now that you are clear on the why, what, who, when, and where, next time we'll discover the how. So tune in next time as I take you through the gathering process of competitive intelligence. Thanks for watching.